is this view. The screen will share.
seems to be some okay. Let me see here if this is there. Okay, so I actually managed to solve a technical problem then. So now Romain is rushing to the university just to find out that everything works. Great. Okay. So we start in a couple of minutes then. Yeah, I'm alone here. It's only me in the room. I think that Romain will join me in a couple of seconds here, but as I said, I think we got the things running without him. I'm so proud of that. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to this department meeting. It's April. We have experienced some rather strange days recently. Things have changed by the minute, and it has really affected how we work, and also, sad to say, the entire society. I think that well, I will keep this meeting rather brief. It will be difficult for me to interact with you guys. We're working on a solution for that too in the future, but in the meantime, you have to bear with me. I will check the chat here from time to time, but now I will switch to PowerPoint, and I will start with some news. First and foremost, I will just inform you about that. Well, I'm really proud to see how well you guys managed the transition to the distance learning mode. I heard lots of positive feedback from our students. Also, there were surveys made on how well the transition has worked, and we were actually explicitly mentioned in one of those surveys. So nice to see that you guys stepped up and managed this. Where I know there's a lot of work involved, and I just want to say a big thank you to all of you. Some more news. Well, we are now officially part of a knowledge environment at the university, digital transformation. This was an application that Marcelo worked with together with a couple of other people at the department, but also Department of Informatics and the business informatics in Kalmar and social sciences and to some extent also the group on working on leadership was involved. But this is now another recognition of the Vice Chancellor of us doing great work. So a big thumbs up to that. We don't really know the effect of these knowledge environments yet, but I think that what we have today is a number of centers or activities that have attracted a lot of attention from the university and also externally. We have some more information, and that is about the hiring processes. We have a couple of them open. We also have a couple of them closed. I will start with the ones that are still open. We have one in embedded systems, close to not computer engineering, but we have that has been open for quite some time now. We finally managed to select 4 candidates that hopefully the hiring board will decide next week and call for interviews. So the plan is that we should have at least one of these guys, because there are some really good guys in that group, on site, or, well, we don't know, but at least working at the department. When it comes to the other open hiring processes, they are still in the external evaluator phase. But we also have 2 processes that were recently closed. One which was a senior lectureship in connected to educational technologies, and Susanna Nordmark is now fully employed finally by the department after quite some years. So even though she's been around, a big welcome to the department, Susanna. And then we also have finalized the hiring of a teacher in media technology, and that well, was just, I think I haven't even received the contract yet, but it's Romain will start or continue to work, but for us, but now on a permanent basis, and I think that for Romain that has, and for all of us, it's a big relief, because you know, without him we will have a huge challenge here in at least in Växjö to manage our all the equipment we have for streaming and recording and so on. And Romain is also doing a great job in the courses he's responsible. So also welcome, Romain. He's actually in the room now, so I can say welcome. And we have a social distancing here of 4 meters or something, so I think we will be good. Okay. Think that's we also have some PhD students in the hiring process, but I think I will wait with them until we have some faces to show. Then for the knowledge areas, we have some changes there. Italo, who joined us a month and some weeks ago, will take over and be responsible for the research part in the EdTech area. That means that we now have manned all the knowledge areas, so we can slowly begin the work. It will take time, and maybe it will take even more time now given the current situation. Yeah, that was 1st of February. It's like a month and a couple of weeks, 4 more weeks. It's fine. Yeah. So, but slowly we can start to work in the knowledge areas, and I will send out some instructions to each and every one of you who is either responsible for research or responsible for managing the areas. And the first to-do item will be information material. We have a planned meeting with the communications department, and we will start working on information concerned with research, but we will also start working on information material concerned with our educational programs. I mentioned this to the program coordinators the other week, so they are at least prepared. But there is a rather huge effort to align the information material we have for our 16 or 17 educational programs and courses, and also, of course, the huge many efforts in research. So that was the general information, and I will just give you a heads up on budget and finances. As you remember, we boosted our educational undertakings for 2020 as a result of activities in previous years. Then we are aware of the not so positive financial situation on the faculty level and also at the university level. And last time when we met, I mentioned that there was the faculty budget at that time was not approved by the university board, and there has been some modifications made, and also based on that, well, not based on the modifications, but based on the fact that the budget was not approved, they asked also the departments to improve their budgets. And last time I asked you to really focus on budget control, manage our resources efficiently. That includes everything from TAs, teaching assistants, to purchasing equipment and so on. And we should also really focus on activating external funds so that we don't have to return money just because we have been sitting on them for too long. I think that the recent developments have changed that to a large extent. There is, but I would still urge you to really focus on these, even though there is a new situation that is more costly than what we saw just a couple of weeks ago. The reason why is that, of course, this new situation has affected our opportunities to achieve the second one, increased income. But because what we did and planned to do was to advertise educational programs and courses, summer courses, and also work with more applications for external projects. However, the new situation has, of course, affected the opportunities to advertise our educational programs and courses. Several events have been cancelled, and also our own activities, visiting schools and high schools and so on, and having classes from high schools visiting us, those events have also been cancelled. One thing that we have done is that we increased the number of courses, and we also will increase the number of students, hopefully, for the summer courses. We will really make an effort there, and that effort is also encouraged by the Swedish government, and also, of course, then by the university. So the goal there is to maybe increase the number of students compared to last year with 30 to 50%, depending upon the number of applicants. There's also since this year this year we also had a course in the Linnaeus Summer Academy, LUSA, which was cancelled, but we still offer our course on applied IoT to these students. Of course, we have a bureaucracy that is not as smooth as one would expect in these situations. So, for instance, teaching language and other things can't be changed, and it means that we have to take some extra measures to meet two student cohorts, one Swedish speaking and one English speaking. What has changed compared to last time is, of course, that there are a lot of unknowns these days. We see a lot of risks popping up. One is for international students. We already seen a number of international students that left. Some of them were called back by their home universities. Some left for personal reasons. Others are still here. However, we are really dependent on our international students, and now we have an increased educational budget, and I think that we have to take some actions in the next few months to address this situation, so that we don't end up with a huge drop of the international students. Fee-paying students is another thing. It is important, but it's not as important as the international students. And finally, we also have a great risk now with the co-production projects, because companies are currently also in a situation where they can't really commit to these activities, and we have some projects that we already got approved, but now for the contract signing and also the activities in the project are at risk due to the situation. The two tables on the right-hand side here are the total full-time equivalents for students. And you can see that currently we are like 4 plus compared to last year. It's mainly more students on the teachers training side. I think there is actually a negative on the regular students. When it comes to fee paying, you can see that there is already a drop, and we saw that drop already last year, that we have a decline in the number of students, and that's problematic, and this new situation may make this drop even more or enlarge that drop, increase that drop for the next semester. So, a couple of weeks ago, the Vice Chancellor urged us to if possible, and if you could find a way to work from home, it was actually something that was recommended. But now they have tightened that a bit, so now this is actually the rule, and the exception is if you come to university. There are still some activities that can't be done from home. For instance, we have a lot of recording facilities at the university. If you want to record a lecture, for instance, there are also some laboratory works that are not that easy to perform from home. Still, working from home changes the situation a lot. However, one thing doesn't change, and that is the employer's responsibility for your work environment. And I've sent you at least one email about this, and I think that it's super important that you guys are thinking about a healthy and safe work environment. Do you have that at home? And since now working from home is a rule, well, we have to make sure that your work environment at home is sustainable and safe. It means that, well, you should not work from your sofa, from your bed, or so on. You should not start working a couple of hours in the morning and a couple of hours late in the night. You should really try to stick to normal routines, and you should take your breaks. You should have your lunch break, your coffee breaks, and so on. And another thing that is super important these days is that you don't get isolated. So stay in contact, get social, contact your colleagues. We have already online ficas, which is, for instance, you can if you don't have a user, you can get one on the department's Slack. So you can go to coursepress.slack.com and create an account if you don't have one. And there, well, hopefully you can find lots of colleagues online there, and you can, if you don't form your own Fika groups, there is one with a not so nice name, Corona Fika. Well, it wasn't my idea. I don't know whose idea it was, but well, someone. So you can find colleagues there, and you connect and no, of course it's not so easy to work from home when you have kids at home, but still I think you have to accept that situation, Ilir, that they have those rules both at the kindergarten and at the school, that given the recommendations from the Swedish authorities, I think that we should not argue too much about it. It's a pain, but I think the option is even more painful. But try to find these ways of communication, meeting your peers here, and because it is a fact that working from home, you lose this social context, and that may have severe negative effects actually over time. Also important that even if you work from home, try to get a daily exercise, move around, If you think about it, we move a lot here at the university. We walk a lot, stairs up and down, going to our lecture rooms, go to the fika room to check the mail, everything. So don't forget to move around and take a break and take a walk in the environment. I get a lot of questions about what you can, bring home from your office. And it is okay to bring a display, keyboard, etc. However, it's not okay to bring any office chairs, tables, whiteboards, things like that. It's not my decision. It's pushed down on us, but I think that I don't. There is a reason for it, but they haven't communicated it. Displays, keyboards, etc. is something that is a smaller thing, I believe. And if you lack something, an external keyboard, for instance, to your laptop, or a pointing device or whatever, don't hesitate to contact me. We have some extra resources that we can and if we don't, we will order new, because what's important here is your work environment, and that you can actually work there, not for days. It's a matter of weeks and even months here. So it should be sustainable. So take your time to really arrange a safe work environment. Okay, and now we look at the distance learning aspect here. There are a lot of I wouldn't call it rumors, but it's a lot of decisions that are not yet made or confirmed. But I think that even though the okay, first we have a question. Does this mean we have to buy desks and chairs? Let us talk about that. But I think that there are always alternatives to a so to say an office desk or an office chair. What's important here is that this is something that is really individual. I know that many of you have a fairly decent home office already. For others, that is definitely not the case. But it's impossible to say something that is general in the sense that it covers all possibilities. I think that we are more than 40 people here working from home, so we have to take it one by one, Mauro. So contact me if you have any doubts, or well, then we take it from there. Coming back.
Another question from Morgan.
Computers. I think that when you mean computers, you mean non-portables, and that's okay. So if you have a desktop or tower, it's okay. Everything that is, so to say, portable in the sense that you can carry it. There will be no support from anyone, but I know that you're a strong guy, Morgan, so you can carry a lot. No, not all have laptops. No, and there is also an opportunity to borrow laptops. Maybe I shouldn't. Yeah, laptops, because right now we have at least two. But as I said before, we have to address this on a, what is a case-by-case basis. So it's impossible to say that this works or this is a solution that fits everyone. Okay, so distance learning. I think that the message right now is that we should start preparing for running all programs as distance learning programs also for fall 20. This is of course nothing that is confirmed. The message is still that September 1st it will be campus again, but I think that what we've seen in recent days is a lot of uncertainty when this will be back to something that is, well, something that we can call normal, where we can actually open up the campus. So the advice now is to start preparing, and we have initiated a consequence analysis, which means that program managers will be contacted, and you, and I mean you who has or have been responsible for a course last year, or know that you will be responsible for a course next semester, you can start thinking, but start thinking, don't do anything except thinking. Well, you can take notes, of course, but don't start changing things until we have a confirmation. There is a best case here. Well, the best case is, of course, that it will be campus open, all students are here, but I don't think that we will see as many international students as we normally see on our study programs, independently of the development. One of the reasons is, of course, that what you see with the Swedish approach or strategy, whatever you choose to call it, is not something that has gained too much positive response from the international community. So that could be one risk. And then, of course, there's a great risk that things will not be back to normal, and that will affect the number of international students that shows for the start of the semester. So in the best case, I think that we should start to prepare for running two Bachelor of Science programs. That's the Software Technology and the Network Security program, and the graduate programs. And I think when I say graduate programs, it's the MediaTech Master and the Software Technology 1 year and 2 year Master. I don't think that we have international students on the Educational Technology program. I think the courses in the Digital Humanities program that we are responsible for will be distance learning anyway. So the big thing here is these two programs. And I think that if we have to do this, we have to do this for the bachelor programs, it's about all 3 years, and for the graduate programs, the 2 years. The worst case here is that we face, well, a big change to all programs. And for some programs, this will be no change. For others, it will be a complete well, for some programs it will be a complete change. So we have to, that's why we started with the analysis of the consequences, and we base our decisions on that information when we plan for the future. And also, as we learn more from the authorities and the university management, well, we can be better prepared for what we have to do and in which order we should do it. How we should meet the demand of reduced traveling? You're referring to the reduced traveling between Kalmar and Växjö, or is it in general reduced traveling? We have already a demand of reduced traveling in Sweden, and there's also a recommendation that we should reduce travels to Kalmar and from Kalmar to Växjö. I'm not really sure what you're referring to there. For program students,
Universities closed.
do I get it right? Get it right if you mean teachers traveling to the other campus for teaching activities? Yeah, all programs as online programs. That's the worst case. That's the worst case. So since this was brought up now with the travel advice, we still have a couple of staff members abroad. One of them will return in August. Hopefully, Nadim can return beginning of next week. I don't know how many flights they canceled for him so far, but now the rumor says that he will be back next week if they don't cancel that flight, but let's keep our fingers crossed. And then I think we have also Marcelo in Germany, and we also have Ola Pettersson in the US, but Ola is now 5% working only on for the department. We also have another. Sorry. Yeah, Nuno in UK. We also have Mark in Germany, and we have a couple of other people around, but they are, as far as I know, home safe by now. So, but all business related travels are cancelled. So before you make any travel reservations, you should contact me and have an approval. I think that the travel agent should be informed, and they will enforce this rule. If they are not informed now, they will be informed in the next few days. Another final slide here. Stay informed. Keep yourself informed. Check the development on the university webpage. And one other thing that is really important, that you also inform your students. Because especially international students, they keep themselves informed using information from their home countries. And this information is not always applicable to Sweden. So for instance, there's been cases of international students that are in complete lockdown and having severe problems to get buy food, etc. They are really afraid of what's going on. They don't have the, they're extremely afraid of, for instance, getting caught by the police if they move outside and so on. So as far as possible, we'll keep your students informed also. But first and foremost, keep yourself informed. So stay informed, stay safe. Remember to get social and don't isolate just because there should be social distancing. They changed that now, so now it's physical distancing. So remember that. Social is super important these days. Physical distancing is also super important. So take care. If you don't have questions, I think that's it for today. Diana has one more item. If you have news for the external newsletter, send it to her Tuesday, I assume next week.